Hi, everyone. My name is Hannah Mears, and I'm an in-arena host and sideline reporter for Penn State Athletics and a recent graduate. I wanted to be involved in a conversation today that I feel is long overdue for a lot of people. I wanted to help bring some friends and new friends into a space where Blacks and whites could talk about everything going on in our country right now and racial injustices in general, and feel comfortable to have that kind of conversation, the conversation that a lot of people are afraid to have. Today, I want to be educated. I'm not ashamed to say that I don't know everything, and I want to learn and to listen to my Black peers and peers in conversation in general that may be more educated than myself. And I'd like to have that conversation with all of you today in this space, and hopefully other people then from this get the courage to ask questions and start conversations of their own.
How y'all doing? I'm Jason Cabinda. Grew up in Jersey. Whole family born in Cameroon. Mother, father, sisters both born in Cameroon. So I have a heavy African influence in terms of the way I grew up. I grew up in Cameroon culture. Grew up around a lot of my Cameroonian family, and then ended up growing up in Jersey. So I have a lot of perspectives in terms of who I am and stuff like that. I'm currently playing in the NFL for the Detroit Lions, joined by a teammate and a coach. I'm really excited about this conversation. And like a lot of us, I've just been sitting at home thinking to myself, what more can I do besides, posting stuff and going out and protesting? And I thought, just having a conversation with everybody from all kinds of different paths and walks of life, to be able to have this conversation, a conversation that needs to be had, and be able to create that space where we can do this. So that's how I was able to link with Hannah, and we were able to create this. I think it's a really, really dope opportunity and awesome thing to be able to do.
All right, Trey Flowers. I'm from Alabama, born and raised. Went to University of Arkansas, and I've now been in the league for 6 years. Here with the Lions, with Cabinda and coach, and I just think it's important to get different perspectives on this type of issue. The coaching Cabinda really know, like, I don't really talk much, but I do listen. I'm observant, so it's important. And I'm here observing, just listening, giving my input, and then just having different perspectives on this issue, so that we can educate, so that I can use my platform to spread the word, or spread knowledge. And so yeah, I'm here. Thanks for y'all for inviting me.
My name is David Corrao. First of all, Jason, Hannah, thank you for inviting me onto this. This is a privilege to be part of this. Originally, probably spent most of my childhood, grew up in Southern California, graduated the University of Arizona. I believe I'm going into my 11th year coaching in the NFL, and I think probably I think I'm going into my 21st year coaching above the high school level. I've lived a lot of different places. When you coach, you move around a lot. Sometimes the players get into that too, but coaches do. I think the biggest thing for me that I see, what I'm trying to get out of this for me personally, is to grow my understanding that everybody sees things differently, and you have to at least pay attention and listen to the reality of how people see things and what they experience, because that's the real part of this, right? It's one-to-one relationships, it's human nature, and to me, that's what I want to get at. It's the biggest thing that we've been doing with the Lions that have had extraordinary impact on me is the personal stories, the individual guys telling how things impact them and what they go through, because it's probably a totally different experience than I've had growing up the way I grew up, going to the places that I've been and worked. And so that's what I hope to get out of this. And I just wish more people were, one of our coaches said this last week, at certain points, I got 2 ears, 2 eyes, and 2 ears open, 2 eyes open, and 1 mouth shut. And sometimes that's the best way to operate. So appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
And hi, you guys. My name is Sissy Farmer, but I go by Sissy. I'm a recent graduate of Hampton University, and I'm currently enrolled at the MBA program there. Hampton's an HBCU, so once again, other perspectives of things that other people are coming from. And I'm also from LA, so I have, and my mom is Hawaiian Indonesian, so I have a lot of different perspectives too, and I'm just really excited to talk to everyone and, educate everyone and also learn as well.
I'm excited to have everyone here, and I think we're going to start with exactly what Coach was just talking about. Everybody being affected differently at this time. And I'm going to go ahead and throw it to either Jason, Trey, or Sissy, and let me know, as a Black person in America right now, what are you personally experiencing from everything that's been going on, from your vantage point?
Okay, you want me to start, Jason, or you want to
go ahead, Sissy, go ahead.
So I want to start, obviously, like Jason and Trey have different perspectives, being a Black male and being professional athletes than me as an HBCU student and a Black woman. Right now, I would say a big thing I'm going to is just a lot of frustration, a lot of anger, a lot of trying to get people to understand what we're going through. I recently just went back to school to move my stuff out, and, just driving that 3-4 hour drive from where my brother lives to school, there's a lot of cops on the road, and it's like, every time you pass a cop, you look back in your window and, make sure like they're not following you or something's happened. Just making the drive was really nervous. Even before all this stuff happened, that's something that has it, but just all this stuff happening, it's extremely frustrating. It's like part of us, all we can really do is use our voices to try to make things better and help educate people. And it's really hard. I worry about my brother. I worry about my dad every day. And certain things that you shouldn't have to worry about that I do worry about. And yeah, Jason, Trey, y'all can take it from there.
I think for me, I think just like Black people as a whole, it's just like the grieving and then the sorrow over it, and then 2 weeks happens and nobody's talking about it, and then there's just another hashtag, and it's just like, it takes such an emotional toll, I think, on you when over time, when you realize it just nothing ever changes, and it just happens again and again and again. And I think that can just really demoralize you as a human being in general, you know what I mean? And just it can be hard when you walk around in certain places and it feels like you're just in the country, but you're not really a part of this place. You're not somebody who's considered as being a part of what this is. It's a lot of those, kinds of feelings, being excluded. I've had a lot of conversations with my friends lately, and talking about the Pledge of Allegiance, the Star Spangled Banner and stuff like that. And just telling them how I felt before, games, before we said the Pledge of Allegiance, or before I heard, those songs play before games and the national anthem and stuff like that. It's for me, when I hear those words, when I sit there and have my hand on my heart, I feel like I'm being a sellout. I think I probably did all that stuff until I was maybe 16, 17 years old, until I really started to realize how things are here. And I think it was then that I started to realize that, those words, I'm not covered by them, and I can't sit here and put my hand on my heart and say these words knowing that they don't mean the same thing for me as they should mean, or as we say that they mean. So I think it's just a general just being tired and enough is enough, what you feel.
Yeah, and for me, I just think as a perspective, at certain points, I got a homie, and it's a lot of people in the community that's just, I guess, feel helpless, hopeless, is something that's been around since the country been born, and is not going anywhere. And in a sense, you kind of get a perspective all right, I have a platform and I have followers, people follow me, people might listen to me, but I don't have anybody in the government that's following me. So me talking on Instagram or anything, I can't reach the minds of the people who controlling laws, who in legislative, who's in the Senate, in the White House, and things like that. So I think, it's kind of I can see why they feeling helpless, why they feeling okay, man, it's not going to ever change. And, like Cabinda said, it's just kind of feeling tired. Obviously you got a lot of emotion behind it. So just that emotional trauma each and every day, you kind of just, you kind of just get I just get used to it because, you know, I got a homie I was talking to and he just like, you know, hey, it's just a miracle. Like you hear that in the black homes a lot. Like, man, ain't no point of crying about it. Ain't no point of complaining about it. That's how America is. And you just got to deal with it as a black man. So, and, you know, I got 2 kids and 2 daughters, but I have nieces, nephews. I have, you know, a lot of, I got a foundation and stuff, and I talk to kids and things like that. And you know, I find myself kind of lost for words expressing to my daughter. She's 7 years old, so she got all the questions in the world about what's going on. And you know, you kind of just can't really explain it. You know, it's hard to explain. It's a hard conversation to have with anybody, you know. And so I think just with me, just understanding that how the country was made, what all kind of, you know, what this country was built on, and then trying to change it, you know, you kind of get caught in the middle because of course you want it to change, but it's like you kind of just feel like it might not change. So
Yeah, and it seems like you all have a common theme of feeling like excluded. And Coach, I expect you more than any of us right now had to sit in that position looking at your athletes feeling like, how can I make everybody feel included? So what did you feel was something that you took on as a personal responsibility with all of this, to reach out to the athletes who look up to you and expect you to say something or guide them through this as well?
Well, I mean, for me personally, that was a great example of one of the more jarring things that was said that I just was, to me, it was incomprehensible. Like, you know, when Jason talked about, I listened to the words of these things and I don't feel like they apply to me. Again, that's the culture and background. You know, I think individually, you know, these are little, the way personally for me, the way I start is the little individual acts of personal responsibility, right? It's not necessarily a very large gesture it takes it, but it's to take the time to listen to what they have to say and turn around and see how I can apply that. Well, how can I apply that? You know, Trey, you just talked about, it's not an easy conversation. Well, I've got a 9-year-old daughter who has questions about what's going on. It's not an easy conversation for me to have with her, but I have to have it in terms of making sure that she understands that the world is, that the country is an ideal. It's not a finish line, right? And so that there is progress that has to be made. And we always say in football, you're either getting better or you're getting worse every day, but you don't stay the same. So what can we do on a daily basis to help things get better? You know, football, again, for how can we help? Well, I help by, in my home, exposing my children after games, at practice, at training camp, to people who don't come from the same background that they come from. But at the end of the day, they're all sharing a similar experience because our dads are out there coaching, playing football. We're all tied to the success of the team, and it doesn't matter where we came from. So finding the commonality, right? So I just, that's the way I look at it. Like that one individual thing that I can start in my own home with my kids to get them to understand. At some point, there will be a common goal, a commonality that we all share, that we all have to be invested in.
Yeah.
And I was gonna say, going into like what Coach said, educating people right now is like the most important thing, because, you know, he said, you know, at the end of the day, like, he's educating his kids, but, you know, as Jason and Trey know, being Black, you have to educate your kids on a whole bunch of things you have to worry about. Like I said, you know, little things like when you're going into a store, you know, you may be followed. When you're driving, you just know when you pass the police, you have to be 100% careful. It's just like certain things that it's like, not all people worry about, Black people have to worry about. And it's trying to get people to understand that we shouldn't, like how Jason said, singing the national anthem or stuff, it's pathetic and sad that we feel how we feel and it doesn't apply to us. Because when it was written, it was not applied to us at all.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, having people understand that and understand as Black people where we have came from and all this stuff we've overcome to build this country is where everyone needs to understand, because the United States would not be the United States if it wasn't for our ancestors, and that's just a fact. And people have to come together. People have to educate themselves. People have to listen to other people, including all Black people. All Black people have to talk because all Black people have different perspectives on how they're reacting and how it's affecting them as well. So
Yeah.
I just really like how Coach was going and talking about how he goes and talks to his daughters and brings them to, so they can experience and so they can, just be around certain things that they normally wouldn't be around, because that's what's really important right now for people to understand what the daily life is as a Black person in America.